oppose what I am calling the Great Republican Ripoff spending bill because it actually harms people in my district and honestly across America. It allows Elon Musk to continue this wrecking ball approach to federal government and programs that my constituents need. It actually defunded programs like access to healthcare for veterans who have been exposed to Agent Orange, folks like my dad who fought in the Vietnam War, and burn pits. So I am standing up for veterans, I'm standing up for working Americans. This bill did not.
I want to ask you about tariffs. What are you hearing from your constituents, and what is your biggest concern on the impact of your district?
This has a huge impact on Oregon's 6th district, and Oregon in particular. Oregon is it's a trade state. We're trade dependent, and so we have billions of dollars that we export every year, and in particular in the Willamette Valley. Things like hazelnuts. I just met with a hazelnut processing company up in my office, wine growers, berries, all of that gets exported. And Canada is one of our biggest exporting countries. And so what will end up happening, and we're already hearing, Canada's threatening and imposing retaliatory tariffs. They're also taking product off the shelves. And this doesn't just mean that the businesses, and these are small businesses, we don't have large farms in Oregon for the most part, but these businesses are being hurt. Their workers are being hurt. The local economies are being hurt by all of this, not to mention the consumers in Oregon who also want to purchase a lot of these products that sometimes get shipped to Canada and they get processed and come back to the United States. We will be hurt by this. This is increasing prices for consumers, not decreasing them, and that is what I ran on. And I thought that's what President Trump ran on too.
I want to ask about the administration and the cutting of federal jobs. Are you seeing an impact on the people who live in your district?
Yes. Short answer, yes, absolutely. So people are getting whiplashed a lot. We learned about a case from the Bonneville Power Administration. They actually helped to keep the lights on and to keep power on in the Pacific Northwest. And when Trump instituted and Elon Musk instituted this wrecking ball approach to cutting federal jobs, BPA was included in this. We heard from one woman from my district who actually was just a few days away from the end of her probationary period. She was devastated. We invested all this money in training her and getting her up to speed. And then a few days later, after we all started raising the alarm bells that, oh my gosh, the lights could be shut off in the Pacific Northwest, it was turned around. It's things like that. It's things like small businesses who are seeing their loans canceled suddenly when they have contracts out and they need to pay their contractors. I had a small business out in one of the very rural parts of my district who was ready to launch a commercial maple syrup business, right? We want to compete with Vermont, and they've been working with the Oregon State University on launching that business. That loan was suddenly cut off. We are hearing from farmers who cannot access the U.S. Department of Agricultural loans that they need to keep their family farms in business. Absolutely, we are hearing because people don't have someone to go to at the federal level for these programs, for these grants, for these loans, and they are panicked.
What cuts to federal programs are you most concerned about?
So the cuts that I'm worried about as of last night and that we're hearing this morning are clearly the Department of Education. Anybody who relies on the Department of Education who might be low income, my district down in Salem Kaiser district, about 50% of the kids in that school district are low income. 50%. They rely on the funding that comes into the school district for different nutrition programs, learning access. Children with disabilities have access to IDEA and programs under the Department of Education that help them to learn. And under our current laws, every child has an equal access to the same education. But right now, again, Elon Musk has taken a wrecking ball to this, and he is basically saying, nope, not anymore. Not anymore, Oregon, not anymore, United States kids, you're out of luck.
What's your plan to help your constituents?
So my plan has been speaking out, letting my constituents know where everything stands, because people, I think the more knowledge and the more information they have, the better decisions they can make for themselves and their families. And we're seeing this already, right? We're seeing everybody from Main Street to Wall Street starting to contract, and they're starting to hunker down. And so basically no more hiring, no more taking out loans, that people are afraid that interest rates are going to continue to climb, that inflation is going to continue to increase, and that a recession is coming. So making sure that people know what Elon Musk and the Republicans are doing right now. So that means for me, teletown halls. I just had a teletown hall on Monday night. We had about 6,000 people, almost 7,000 people on that call. I had a town hall early in February with Senator Merkley. We had about 700 people come to that town hall, and then I'll be hosting another town hall on Tuesday. But giving people information, answering their questions. I'm online as well, taking intake forms for people who want to express the impact that they have seen from these federal cuts and the tariffs. So if people want to, weigh in, salinas.house.gov/cuts, they can go and tell their story, and we're happy to share because I think these stories are very powerful.
Do you support downsizing the federal government in any way?
What I support is eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think that we can do that in a surgical way. A bureaucracy as big as the federal government, we all know there's clearly waste, fraud, and abuse in a system this big, and there's a way to do it surgically. Elon Musk has no clue how to do that surgically. Donald Trump is enforcing him, and neither are the Republicans. This is shameful.
As a former Oregon state lawmaker, you know that the state has to balance its budget every 2 years. Should the federal government be required to balance its budget?
I'm concerned that we have an outstanding debt that I do not want to leave to my child. She's 20 years old right now. She'll be graduating from college here soon. And I don't want to strap her or young Americans with that debt. We should be figuring out ways to get closer to a balanced budget, absolutely. The federal government, though, has tools that we can use to take on a reasonable amount of debt. Right now, this government and Elon Musk is planning a huge $4 trillion additional tax cut to billionaires and large corporations. We absolutely should not be doing that.
Do you approve of the way that House Democrats are responding to the actions of the Trump administration? And if you don't approve, how do you think Democrats should respond?
I will say that we are starting to see a little chink in Donald Trump's armor, right? His approval ratings are going down. They were up when he took office in January. And so we are starting to see some movement. I think people in House Republican districts are starting to see an outcry from their constituents who recognize, and it's not just, big businesses, and it's not just, mom and pops who are claiming that they're being hurt. It's farmers, it's everyday people who are really being hurt here. So I would say what we are doing as Democrats, what I'm doing, how I'm sounding the alarm bells is working.
What policies are you putting forward in Congress right now?
So I'm signing on to bills that basically say people who are not elected or not appointed should not be making these massive decisions to government spending and government layoffs like Elon Musk. So I've signed on to a bill like that. I have been writing letters to the administration to help the growers in my industry, the farming industry in the Willamette Valley, to make sure that their voices are being heard. And I just want to make sure that the American people have what they need. So trying to put forward amendments that are getting shot down time and again by the Republican Party that basically requires them to do their jobs. We are a co-equal branch of government. And right now, Republicans are abdicating. They're giving away their responsibility as a co-equal branch to Elon Musk and the Trump administration. This is not right. This is not what is instituted in our Constitution. It is not following the rule of law, and I can't stand for it.
What are your district priorities right now?
My district priorities are the same that they have been for the last couple of years from when I first got elected, which is bringing down costs for Oregonians. I was talking to a group yesterday. Oregonians work too damn hard to see their money being given to a big $1 trillion tax break for large corporations. So bringing down costs on gas, on groceries, housing, and healthcare. People are really concerned. Working people are concerned right now that they are going to lose access to the Oregon Health Plan, which is funded through Medicaid. This is a serious concern because these are not people who are just sitting around. These are people who are working, that have families, veterans, elderly people that are concerned that they are going to lose their health care. So making sure that that stays on the table, making sure that people actually have food on the table is another big one because it benefits my farmers and it benefits my workers.